Hey there, fellow sports gamblers. It's Steel Picks for you with the 5 best NBA prize picks and underdog free picks for today, March 30th. Before we get into today's picks, let's do a quick recap of what happened yesterday. Brandon Ingram was not able to play. He's a late scratch and was unable to play in the game. So we didn't get a chance to get in on those two picks. Karl Anthony Towns had 15 points, 2 assists, and an unbelievable 18 rebounds to go over the 30.5 points we predicted from him. So the 18 rebounds was something he hadn't done since January and only 3 times all season. So certainly wasn't expecting that type of output on the boards. Good for him. Nikola Jokic had 25 points, 15 rebounds, and 8 assists, just missing the over 50.5 points we predicted by 2. And Jamal Murray had 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists, just missing the over 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists by a half point. Not a really great ticket to write home about, but Monday's games today will be definitely a bounce back day for us, and looking forward to making some better picks. First up, we have Trey Jones over 21.5 points, rebounds, and assists against the San Antonio Spurs. As you can see, Trey's been able to do this in 9 of his last 10 games, and in the last 2, he's been able to go for 37 and 34, which is definitely a positive. As far as minutes played, you can see that he's been on a little bit of an uptick from 27 to 26 to 29, so almost 30 minutes a game. And as far as his field goal attempts, he's also been on an uptick, going from 12 to 11, a little down tick for 9, but then back up to 12 and 15, so definitely a positive there in his last 6 games. And although he is playing the Spurs, which have a pretty good defense all around, they somewhat surprisingly struggle against point guards, as they are 28th in points allowed and 27 in rebounds allowed. So definitely like for Trey Jones to go over this number. As you can see, PrizePicks agrees with us at the minus 119. From that same game, I'm going to go with Stephon Castle over 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists. As you can see, Stephon's been able to do in 8 of his last 10 games. With his last 5, he's gone for 31 over the 23.5, 25 over the 23.5, 24, and 32 over the 23.5 against Milwaukee, the team that he's playing in the Chicago Bulls. Not that great in assists allowed. They're pretty good in points allowed for point guards. But overall, they're 27th and 28th in the league, so definitely an opportunity for Stephon Castle to get some things done. As we look at his minutes per game, they have been steadily increasing over the last 4 games. He's averaging about 30 points a game there. He's been able to get to the free throw line for 10 times, 9 times. Not a great game against Milwaukee, only getting there 3 times, but as you can see for the trend, he's been able to do that fairly consistently. Stephon Castle has also exceeded the 23.5 points and assists in 8 of his last 9 games, so definitely felt confident he'll be able to do that again. And Novig likes this pick as well, minus 28, so we're going to go with Stephon Castle over 23.5 points and assists. Next up for us is the former MVP Embiid over 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And since his return, his 2 games have looked pretty stellar. He had 35 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists on Friday against the Chicago Bulls, and just missed that mark against the Charlotte Hornets with the 29 points and 6 rebounds. Didn't have any assists, which is somewhat of an anomaly, so I definitely expect him to be distributing the ball a little bit better in this game against the Miami Heat. So let's definitely see what he can do in that one. As you can see, Heat for points allowed, 117 at the 22 rank. Rebounds allowed, 46.7 at the 29 rank. And against centers, they're middle of the road with the points allowed. A little bit on the lower side with the rebounds allowed. Middle of the road for the assists allowed. And in the minutes that Joel has been played since he's come back, you can see a steady increase from 28.5 to 35, which is a good thing for us. You can see he's getting to the free throw line at a better pace, 9 times in his first game and then 13 in his next game. And for centers, you can see in 3 of the last 4 games, the Miami Heat have given up more points than the projection. So definitely like Joel Embiid to go over 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And as a friendly reminder, when you use my promo code STEELEWINS and spend $5, you'll get $50 cash back. And when you use BETR and use my promo code WINCASH, you'll receive 2 anytime tokens worth up to $100 each. The next pick I have for you, is Nickeil Alexander-Walker over 17.5 points against the Boston Celtics. As you can see in the last 20 games, Nickeil's been able to do this 70% of the time, 14 of those 20. And in his last 10, you can see he's been able to do this 9 of his last 10, with his last 4 being 26 against Memphis, 21 against Detroit, 20 against Boston, and 27 against Sacramento. Of course, he is playing a team in the Boston Celtics that is a pretty good defensive team. Points allowed, they're number 1, but against shooting guards, they're also number 3. So from that perspective, it doesn't look that positive. But if you look at his overall numbers in the 9 of his last 10 games, he's been able to get to that mark pretty easily. And in his head-to-head, this is what we really like. You can see on January against Boston, he was able to get that 18. Again, in January, he was able to get 21. And then just recently, 3 days ago, he was able to get 20 against the Celtics. So a familiar foe that he's been able to put up some very decent numbers against. As you can see, his minutes per game has increased dramatically. And again, he played 38.5 minutes against Boston the last time. So definitely like that for him. And he's been able to exceed the 17.5 points in 12 of his last 13 games. So all definite positive signs that Nickeil Alexander-Walker can get over 17.5 points. PrizePicks also likes him at -119. And our last but not least pick of the day is James Harden over 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists. As you can see in his last 10 games, James has hit this very consistently in 7 of those last 10 games, and in 6 in a row, including a 38 rebounds, points, and assists outing, 52 points, rebounds, and assists outing, and consistently has been over that mark at 36, 36, 34, and 36. So definitely like that. The matchup against the Utah Jazz, which we all know, and I've been saying for a few weeks now, doesn't really have a whole lot to play for. They're basically lottery bound, hoping the ping pong balls bounce in their favor. But overall, their defense not very good. Points allowed, they're 25th. Rebounds, they're pretty good actually at 7. And assists allowed, they're 22 versus point guards. So definitely something that James Harden should be able to take advantage of. And again, these are averages, certainly not playing someone the caliber of James Harden. As far as potential assists go, he's definitely got an opportunity to do so. His ability to distribute the ball has been great. His minutes have been very consistent. The last game was 29.5, but if you look at his trend over the last 10, he's consistently playing around 36 to 38 minutes a game. And in typical James Harden fashion, he's been able to get to the free throw line, get those 7 attempts. And as you can see, he's pretty much dead on from the free throw line. He's got the 6, the 7, the 7. So basically 100% his last 2 games. James Harden has exceeded 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists in 16 straight games versus bottom 10 defenses. So certainly like him to get over that 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists threshold. As you can see, Novig also likes that pick at -128. So to recap, the picks that we have for you: Trey Jones over 21.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Stephon Castle over 23 points and assists. Joel Embiid over 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Nickeil Alexander-Walker over 17.5 points. And James Harden over 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists. That's the 5 picks I have for you today. Please be sure to like and subscribe to the Steel Picks for You channel. And good luck, man.